Okay.
And in the Marines, his mother, Austin, had already been deployed to Iraq once. The second time, the job was much tougher, much more dangerous.
Another New Mexico Marine has been killed in Iraq. Lance Corporal Aaron Austin of Lovington died in combat around Fallujah, according to his mother. We'll have much more on Corporal Austin's death coming up in the next half hour on First at 4:30. Terry Okita reports that more Marines' lives are on the line right now in Fallujah.
More fierce fighting in Fallujah between Marines and insurgents as a U.S. AC-130 gunship hammered targets in the city. It came just hours after a deadline passed for rebels to lay down their weapons. Negotiations for a permanent ceasefire are diminishing. In Najaf, hundreds are mourning the dead after overnight clashes between U.S. troops and followers of Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. It appears the U.S. is starting to put more pressure on al-Sadr to surrender or face being killed. But the U.S. must tread carefully to avoid a widespread revolt. The coalition is already losing some support. Spain has pulled its troops out of Iraq and plans a complete withdrawal of support staff by May 27th. Diplomacy must play a key role to help end the violence and make for a smooth transition before the June 30th handover of power. Congress is hoping to fast-track the approval of John Negroponte as the first U.S. ambassador to Iraq.
We will represent United States interests and offer support.
Albuquerque and all of New Mexico. You're watching KRQE News 13, first at 4:30.
Good afternoon. Another New Mexico family has received the message they dreaded.
Their son, Marine Lance Corporal Aaron Austin, has been killed in Iraq. KRQE News 13's Jill Monier is just back from Lovington, Corporal Austin's hometown. Jill joins us live from Roswell. Jill?
Dick Lance Corporal Austin was stationed in Fallujah. He spoke with his mother by cell phone on Thursday. Today, she spoke with News 13. Aaron Austin graduated from Lovington High School in May 2001 and joined the Marine Corps 5 months later. He had planned to marry this coming December, and today his mother, Dion Miller, called her son a hero.
Our family has a deep faith, and my son had a deep faith. And so I know he's not fighting anymore, and we'll all get through this.
Miller says there will be a memorial service for Lance Corporal Austin in Lovington. He will be buried in Amarillo. Back to you.
All right, Jill, thank you. We'll have much more about Corporal Austin later in our newscast. He'd been serving in Iraq with the 1st Marines in a heavy weapons platoon.
It started as a quiet day in Fallujah, but that only lasted until the sun went down. The city has since erupted into a full-scale battle. Lisa Barron has more on the situation in Iraq.
The ceasefire in Fallujah is over. U.S. gunships battered the Sunni Muslim city at nightfall, apparently in the northern area where insurgents are concentrated. Flames were seen rising from numerous buildings while loudspeakers called on fighters to mobilize. For days, U.S. officials and local leaders had appealed to those same fighters to turn in their weapons, but few complied. Earlier Tuesday, a fierce battle near Najaf began when dozens of Shiite militiamen attacked a U.S. patrol. The U.S. military says its troops killed more than 60 insurgents in several hours of fighting. U.S. soldiers entered Najaf for the first time yesterday to take over a base vacated by departing Spanish troops. The clashes came shortly after the U.S. issued an ultimatum to radical Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr to clear his militia from the city's mosque. The U.S. military has said it won't go near the holy sites for now, but the bloodshed could mark a turning point. Meanwhile, in Baghdad, one U.S. soldier was killed at another platoon in Sadr City, where there's been sporadic violence for weeks. It seems the only part of the country that is truly stable is the Kurdish-controlled north. Spain has announced all of its troops have now left Iraq, and Great Britain says right now they've got enough troops in the country. This with just 2 months to go before the scheduled handover of power to Iraqis. In Baghdad, Lisa Barron, KRQE News 13.
Fighting in Fallujah has killed a New Mexico Marine. 21-year-old Marine Lance Corporal Aaron Austin was from Lovington. His mother says she last spoke with her son on Thursday.
She got word yesterday that he had been killed sometime in the last few days at Fallujah. He joined the Marines in 2001, just a few months after graduating from Lovington High School. He is the third New Mexico fighting man to be killed in this Iraq war.
He named one small New Mexico town as grieving the loss of a young Marine killed in Iraq.
21-year-old Lance Corporal Aaron Austin of Lovington died in a gun battle in Fallujah. He was serving his second tour in Iraq and was looking forward to getting married in December. Jeremy Hohola spoke with his family and his fiancée. He's live in Lovington with tonight's top story. Jeremy.
Tom, it was just on Sunday when Aaron Austin telephoned his future wife from a rooftop in Fallujah. The very next day, she went to go pick up her wedding gown. The next day after that, she got the bad news. He ran track and was a football player, and he was going to be a husband. But 21-year-old Aaron Austin was killed in Fallujah. It was his second tour in Iraq. His last face-to-face words with his fiancée, easy to remember.
That he loved me, and that everything would be okay.
A day after the Fallujah gunfight, thousands of miles away here in Lovington, the news was told by a visitor no military mother wants to see.
When you go to bed at night and no one's came that day, you can sleep a little easier. And so they came yesterday.
Everyone was looking forward to the big December wedding.
He called my father from Fallujah and asked him if he could marry me. My dad said yes. And he called me and asked me.
But now there's a funeral to plan.
Yesterday I just picked up my dress. And we already had the church reserved and the reception hall and everything.
A room decorated with Marine Corps images still waits, along with pictures from Austin's first tour, like this one, where little Iraqi girl gives him a kiss on the cheek. His family says he left an impression on everyone he met. Perhaps his last moments left the biggest one of all.
He wanted to go serve our country and protect, our freedom, and that's exactly what he was doing.
I will always be proud of him, and I do not regret that he joined the Marine Corps and that he gave his life for what I believe in.
Aaron Austin will be buried in Amarillo, Texas. He was expected to come home this October. We're live in Lovington. Jeremy Hohola, Eyewitness News 4.
So painful. Thank you, Jeremy. Governor Bill Richardson has ordered all flags to be flown at half-staff in honor of Lance Corporal Aaron Austin. The governor spoke to Austin's mother tonight by phone and offered his condolences and gratitude. The governor says New Mexico has, quote, paid a heavy price in the war in Iraq. Austin is the third New Mexican killed in Iraq this month, the fourth since the beginning of the war. Marine Lance Corporal Christopher Ramos of Albuquerque died in a firefight April 5th in Fallujah. Army Specialist James Heath
This fighting took place in Fallujah when Iraqis attacked coalition positions there, and as you can see, there were a number of explosions. That man that you just saw, too familiar with the fighting, Patrick Zimmerman, wounded in action, and as you just heard from Cynthia, has been awarded a Purple Heart.
But that fighting also killed several troops, including a Lovington man, Aaron Austin. Kate Godwin spoke with Aaron's mother and fiancé about their loss.
Lance Corporal Aaron Austin last spoke with his mother about a week ago. She says at that time he seemed a little down, a little tired. He had, after all, witnessed some of his fellow Marines go down and his own life was on the line. But he called her back to say, "Hey Mom, I'm doing okay. I've gotten some sleep, I shook it off, I'm ready to go." That's the kind of guy Aaron Austin was.
He's my precious, perfect son.
21-year-old Lance Corporal Aaron Austin.
He was loyal and loving.
He realized the Marines was where he wanted to be.
And in the Marines, his mother and stepfather hoped he would see the world, meet new people, experience life outside his small hometown. Austin had already been deployed to Iraq once. The second time,
Fallujah's just a totally different thing,
The job was much tougher, much more dangerous. But Austin had a strength.
He loved his family. He loved his country. He loved his job. And he loved the Marines that he fought next to.
His family loved him, too. You can see it in his fiancée's now broken heart.
Yesterday I just picked up my dress. And we already had the church reserved and the reception hall and everything.
You can see it in the room his stepfather decorated to welcome him home. And it's in the tears his mother sheds when she thinks of an even greater pain than what fills her heart now.
I think it's a few years later when they still don't come home.
But then there are the memories, his smile, his lively personality, his sense of duty. And when you think of it that way,
The pain, I'm sure, will always be there, but he will too.
Here's another window into Aaron Austin's heart. The first time he had a chance to call home from Iraq, he didn't call his mother, he didn't call his fiancée. He called a fellow Marine's mother, just to let her know her son was doing okay. Reporting in Lovington, Kate Godwin, KOAT Action 7 News.
Services for Aaron Austin will be held in Lovington, but he will be buried in Amarillo, Texas, where his father lives. And tonight, Governor Richardson has ordered flags to fly at half-staff in his honor. Well, this month alone, 115 American troops have been killed in Iraq.
5 of them are from New Mexico, including the latest one who died, Lance Corporal Aaron Austin. 26-year-old Lance Corporal Christopher Ramos was also killed west of Baghdad on April 5th. He is survived by his wife, his 18-month-old daughter, and a stepson. They lived in Albuquerque.
Civilian Tim Smith of Aztec was killed in Iraq April 8th when the truck he was driving for Halliburton Energy was attacked. Smith is survived by his ex-wife Sally Wood and 10-year-old daughter Brandy Smith.
Dwayne Totochini was born and raised in northern Arizona near the Four Corners area, but he attended prep school in Farmington. The 29-year-old Army medic also died in Iraq. He was a member of the Navajo Nation and was the nephew of the tribe's vice president.
And Army Specialist James Purtle died last October when a rocket-propelled grenade struck his tank. The 27-year-old from Carlsbad, and it was near the end of his tour of duty when he was killed.
Now, coming up Friday night, Nightline with Ted Koppel will dedicate the entire show to reading the names of U.S. military members killed in Iraq. But ABC says because so many have died, Koppel will only read those killed since March 19th. The honors will include the troops' name, military branch, rank, and age. Nightline begins at 11:35 right here on KOAT 7.
Well known for its violence against the United States military, he joined the Marines just 5 months out of high school. It was his second tour in Iraq. He was due back in the United States at Camp Pendleton, where he was based in October. He played football and ran track, and he was one mother's only son. She says today she believes his death was not in vain.
I will always be proud of him, and I do not regret that he joined the Marine Corps and that he gave his life for what I believe.
Austin is described by friends and family as an outgoing man who was very proud to be a Marine. He was set to be married in December. Tonight at 10, we'll have more with his fiancée, who just got her wedding gown right before she got this news. Live in Lovington, New Mexico, Jeremy Cahol, Eyewitness News 4.
The war with Iraq began. 754 Americans have been killed in action. One of them, Lance Corporal Aaron Austin of Lovington. Today, his family and friends gathered to say their final goodbyes. Cynthia Segura is here with more.
A New Mexico son was laid to rest today in Amarillo, Texas. 21-year-old Aaron Austin lost his life in battle on April 26th. He was a proud United States Marine. Lance Corporal Aaron Austin, a good man with a brave heart who fought valiantly for his country. A Marine who today was given the proper respect. Lance Corporal Austin, who grew up in Lovington, New Mexico, was killed on April 26th while fighting in Fallujah. He was to be married this December.
Yesterday, I just picked up my dress. And we already had the church reserved and the reception hall and everything.
Just 8 months ago, relatives in Lubbock, Texas were welcoming the Marine home from his first tour in Iraq. He spoke proudly of the rich military history in his family.
And I have my uncles here, the Marines before I am. I'm just following their footsteps.
He always dreamed of a career in the military, so much so Aaron agreed to a second tour in Iraq.
He loved his family, he loved his country, he loved his job, and he loved the Marines that he fought next to.
And so he gave the most he could for his country.
The pain, I'm sure, will always be there, but he will too.
Lance Corporal Austin graduated from Lovington High School in 2001 and joined the Marines 5 months later. He served with the 2nd Battalion, 1st Marine Regiment, E Company. Doug?
Austin was buried in Amarillo, Texas, where his father lives. Memorial service is planned this Saturday in Lovington.